let you take point since this is their normal thing.
What's up, you guys? It's me, not Sean Rostow.
And me. I mean,
it's me and Alex, guys. This is my first podcast of the week because if you see this little number that's happening here, I got bit by my dog and I had 13 stitches in my face. I'm so excited to get back to doing this. I missed it so much this week. Can't be here with Sean because Sean is in Orlando and was at tonight's Rampage. But since I missed Sour Graps on Tuesday, how excited am I to be on with Alex Pawlowski?
Hey!
How are you doing?
You missed the Mardi Gras celebration, but maybe we'll throw another one on Sunday just because it's your Mardi Gras weekend, you know.
Here's the thing, guys. If you're not watching on Tuesdays, we're not like in love with the NXT product. So we have arts and crafts.
Yeah.
To make it a more entertaining product, but we did have some very cool stuff happening tonight. Please get in those super chats. Get in those humper chats at humperchats.com because there were some matches that absolutely humped tonight. And please subscribe to Fightful Select. I did my due diligence. I asked Sean, hey, is there anything that you want us to talk about specifically on Fightful Select? And he said, no, but tell all those cheeky monkeys out there that I have scoops and scoops and scoops galore coming. He didn't say it like that, but that's what I decided he said. So just know there's going to be a lot of scoops coming out of Revolution Weekend. I'm so excited for it. Please leave a thumbs up on this video so that people can find us in the algorithm, and then they can hang out with us too. We are actually going to switch it up a little bit. Both shows had some kind of newsworthy things on, but because it's a pay-per-view weekend, we're going to want to talk about Revolution. We're going to start with SmackDown tonight, which opened with a surprising turn of events, in my opinion, but a promo from Ricochet, and then a promo from Sami Zayn in an Intercontinental Championship match.
They did all the promos. They did promos for everything, back to back of all the people. Like Ronda did one, and Sonya did one. The Viking Raiders did one, and Usos did. It was like one of those things every now and then, like Bruce gets to do his Saturday night's main event opening, everyone cutting promos to the camera, and it's like, you know what, fine, do whatever you want.
It reminded me of at WrestleMania when they had the rain delay and they had to do like promo roulette, and I was like, some of these are the best ones that you do. But we do kick it off with Sami Zayn and Ricochet. It was reported earlier on Fightful that Ricochet is lined up for a huge push. I didn't think it was going to start like this, but here we go. A fantastic match between the two, which was not surprising. Some really incredible spots. That like backflip moonsault over the ropes thing is ridiculous. The ending ended up being like a standing Hurricane Rana on Sammy. So let's talk about the match first. I was so excited just to see like a fresh matchup with two talents who I knew were going to work really well together, that both deserve a spotlight. I did not think the booking was going to go the way it was, but I thought these two had great chemistry, and I always like starting off the show with something that's high energy to get you hooked, and I don't know if there's anybody that's more high energy than Ricochet.
No. I mean, Ricochet deserves a push. I do think it is kind of telling that the reason he's getting such a push is because they fired everybody else. Like he's the number two. He's the number two babyface on SmackDown, and since he was drafted to SmackDown, he's currently 2-3 in singles matches. Well, 3-3 after tonight. So, so since the 5th of November, he's 3-3, and he's the second babyface on SmackDown, and didn't have a path to WrestleMania until he won this match. You know, the number one babyface is Drew McIntyre, and he's mired in some dead-end, catatonically boring feud with Baron Corbin. Like, they have no idea how to build people so you're like, man, you know who I can't wait to see face Roman Reigns? This guy. They cannot build people to be that in that position. You need those people, and you need to believe there's at least a 10 to 15% chance they might beat Roman. Otherwise, it's just academic. Why are we watching? But I'm super excited for Ricochet. He gets great reactions even when he's being booked terribly. So hopefully if he's being booked to win stuff and as the new Intercontinental Champion, those reactions will actually increase, and it maybe Vince might start listening to the crowd he says he listens to. That'd be good too.
Well, when the crowd is piped in, you don't really have anyone to listen to, but I'm also so excited for Ricochet. He does get reactions wherever he goes. He is someone that had a push previously and they just fell off a cliff with him. So I'm hoping they build him up. And I completely agree with you on the fact that they not only have trouble building up anybody these days, but they especially have issues building up faces. They just have absolutely no idea how to do it because they're constantly booking heat. So what you're getting is heels, and most of them don't even feel important. So this was super refreshing to see. We do see Johnny Knoxville come out and distract Sammy. My only issue with that is Sammy's been around the block, you know what I mean? And he has all these conspiracy theories in his head. I wish it was a little more viable that Sami Zayn would be distracted just by the presence of Johnny Knoxville.
I think Johnny Knoxville makes him crazy. And I think they built that up enough that that's why he would do it. I don't know why Johnny Knoxville would do it now when he could be like, let's wait, and then I could become Intercontinental Champion. Like, wouldn't that be a thing that like Johnny Knoxville, egomaniac, would be like, I'm the Intercontinental Champion of WWE? Wouldn't he want that? Why wouldn't he want? Because if he knows he's going to get Sammy to accept his challenge at WrestleMania or whatever, wouldn't you want that to be for the title if you were Johnny Knoxville? I suppose. Also, why wait until tonight? Why not, if you don't care about being Intercontinental Champion, why not cost Sammy the match versus Shinsuke Nakamura? I feel like I know the reason why they did that, because we'll talk about that later in this episode. But okay, cool. I'm happy Ricochet is the champion. I'm overjoyed that Johnny Knoxville will not be winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania.
Think this could turn into a triple threat at any moment, Alex.
Oh, God, you're right. Oh, no.
I shouldn't have put that out there. I don't want to pull a Joel Pearl, who's one of our fantastic moderators who throws terrible ideas out there that come true all the time. But I'm so excited about Ricochet having the belt. I hope this is the path to making it mean something. I kind of don't understand why they didn't do this at WrestleMania, maybe on night 1, and then you have Knoxville and Sammy at night 2, because you know that's just going to be kind of a throwaway. But
yeah,
I'm not mad to see people who deserve pushes getting a push and a title shot. So that makes me very happy.
That's good. It came completely out of left field. It does not make a whole lot of sense. Even when they do something good, it's almost inexplicable. It's crazy.
We have some love coming in from me, which I appreciate. It was a very hard week. We have the Nerd Guru chiming in saying that, Kate, you may have a scratch on you, but I can't imagine what the bear you fought looks like. That is a shoot. That's 100% what happened. The only thing I'll add to that is that it was multiple bears that I fought. So just so that you guys know the truth, we had some fun.
She was in a handicap match with versus two bears. Yeah.
That just makes me think of Anchorman when he's with Baxter. My goodness.
Yes.
We got some more love for me. Thanks, guys. From Mark Quill saying, take it from someone with a scar, Kate. It just makes you look really badass. Thank you so much. I am very lucky for the situation that I was in. It was a really shitty scenario, but it was the best case scenario of that shitty scenario. I was in fantastic medical care, and I'm so thankful for that, because it messed with me more than I thought it would, because it's like every time you look in the mirror, I just looked like I had a baseball running down my face. I just had these stitches. So very thankful to have that a little bit in the rear view. But thank you so much for the love. I appreciate you guys so much. There's just love for Team Calyx coming in via Humper Chat too. From Corey Shiflett saying, I promise to send this on Twitter, even if you have already answered by the time I send this. Have you heard of the AEW and Funko possibly going into business? Wow, I had not heard that. Would make for a great line of Funko. Thank you for all that you do, SRS and Fightful. Well, thank you, Corey. I hadn't heard that, and we'll touch on the ROH stuff later, because my little Markety Mark heart, just lit up. But thinking about like toy lines and action figures and stuff, it's endless possibilities. Funko seem, I don't get it. Like I'm not a big figure gal myself. It saves me a lot of stress in my life. I found that I am not. But a lot of people are, and people collect Funkos the same way that they collect figures. So, and I know WWE has done them in the past. So, I think that it would make sense that they would go there. Had you heard that, Alex?
I had not heard that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool though.
We have another Humber chat coming in from Joseph Snirk saying, Kate stealing AJ Gray's bear fighting gimmick. Well played. Well played. Wow, I didn't even think that. We had some fun on Tuesday. And just general in my life, I've been asking people to make up like backstories, which has been really fun. I've been told I fought the New Jersey Devil. If you're a hockey fan or aware of New Jersey, you know that the Devil has a home in South Jersey. So I guess I was going down there to pick a fight with him. Multiple people have told me that I fought bears, which is just very funny. Like Ryan at the Mark Warner podcast made up that same backstory. It seems like everybody thinks I fought bears. So,
saved a family of sea otters from a rampaging great white shark.
Our wonderful moderator Luis has changed as he categorizes everything. It was like K-Lex Love, and now there's a category called MD Kate versus Bears, because we have Tom Valley sending in a chat saying, was it Bronson or Boulder that left the scar? Buddy, when you're in a vicious bear fight, like I wasn't seeing bear faces, you know what I mean? I just saw the claws coming at me and was dodging. So I don't even know who it was, but I just know that I came out victorious, and that's why you haven't seen Bear Country on your television in a while. So, and Josh Weaver saying the same thing, Kate versus Bear Country at Revolution, book it, TK. Look, I'm here now. There's time between now and Sunday. Yep. Cesaro is a free agent. Swerve is a free agent.
Well, that's good.
I'm a free agent. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you guys so much. And Mark Losbert chiming in saying, hey, it's Kate Elizabeth, like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
It must take some real drive and power to appear in your condition. Well, it is about drive and it is about power. So, thank you for recognizing that me and The Rock are basically the same. We definitely both get up at 4 a.m. and we actually work out together. So I appreciate you. But going back to SmackDown. I'm sorry. We have a couple of chats coming in about that match. Ricochet's reign is already better than Shinsuke's, said Braun Wagner. Yes, because Shinsuke didn't wrestle in his reign until he lost the belt. So, do you agree, Alex? Do you think it's good when a wrestler wrestles when they have a belt?
I do. Provided that Ricochet defends his title more than once before losing it, then he will already have surpassed Shinsuke Nakamura's reign.
I mean, I don't want to get like too hot takey, but I think when you have a belt and you defend it ever, that's like probably a good thing. You know what I mean?
Sizzling hot. Sizzling hot take.
Sizzling hot take. Guys, get in those super chats and humper chats because we got nothing for SmackDown. People are so burnt out on this product. One final humper chat from the Sami, Zayn, and Ricochet situation, though. They could build someone to that point, talking about Alex's point earlier of not being able to build anyone. The problem is that they won't. They flat out refuse to. And that's exactly right. If you're rewriting shows 14 minutes before they go on air, that makes it kind of impossible. And it just has felt like, I think the reason I get so frustrated with it is it feels disrespectful to the performers because it seems like you just don't care. Something that was also reported on Fightful Select is how low the morale has been in WWE. So subscribe to $5 a month. But yeah, it's weird because it's like they've had an inability to for a while, right? Like Danielson and Punk were all products of the system. Becky Lynch was held down and she's been one of your biggest stars. There's been some women that broke through that. I think Bianca was kind of treated more appropriately, but overall it's been of recent a downright refusal to, and not just like a broken system. So
yeah,
should we move along to what I know is going to be Alex's favorite segment of the night?
There were some bad ones.
Tell me there's nothing more exciting to you than, more stupendous to you than Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee at WrestleMania.
Like this, that they show the clip of the interview where I've been thinking about it. What if we were to offer you a match at WrestleMania? It'd be a dream, boss. Like the most ridiculous. Like obviously, Pat McAfee knew that thing was coming at that particular point of the interview. It'd be a dream, boss. Like it just the way it was done was just I have no interest in any that interview. Was all just people are tying themselves into knots, finding ways that wasn't the most obviously like put out whatever. It was. I guess it was nice to hear Vince say the F word. How candid of him. But yeah. So everybody was like, "Oh, it's gonna be Vince versus Pat McAfee." He's like, "I feel like it's not." And then Austin Theory teased that it was going to be him on Raw, and he walks out, and Pat McAfee is, "I have no idea who this is." Good to know Pat McAfee watches the product. Guess what? Most of the people in the arena have no idea who this person is either. And him just coming out and saying, everybody hates you, and Vince suckered you into accepting a match versus me so I could kick your ass. And then he slaps Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee says, I have no idea who that person was. And then he says, oh, the boy toy, Miss McMahon's little plaything. It's like, so you do know who he is. Why are we adding more bad matches to WrestleMania? Could we add good matches? Like, I mean, what? Who cares about this? Who says like, I'm on the fence about buying a ticket for WrestleMania, but now that there's an Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee match, I'm going. Who's that? Who's that person?
They are full on, especially this year, just selling the experience of WrestleMania. So it is frustrating because I don't know, there's still really skilled wrestlers at the old WWE. I would like to see them be used proper. Like, I would rather see Ridge Holland versus somebody, and they haven't done a single interesting thing with Ridge Holland. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather at least see somebody that is great in the ring go do something. Yeah. So I will say this. I love, and I think Michael Cole deserves it, he has so much fun with Pat McAfee. Mm-hmm. There's so many times that guy is trying not to laugh. And to think of all the years he spent with like Jerry Lawler and how long and boring and terrible that must have been. He just seems like he's having so much fun. And I feel like Michael Cole doesn't get his due. Do I think he's the best announcer in the world? No. But I think he's a very solid announcer. I think he's always done what they wanted him to do.
Well, that part is true. He has definitely always done what they wanted him to do.
But like he's like exactly medium. Like he's been a stable force there, and that has been a rotating desk. And I'm glad that he like has somebody that like he can do his thing and the personality guy can do his thing, and he just looks like he's always on the verge of cracking up. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Get a super chat coming in from the Nerd Guru saying Pat's Mania entrance has to include his boys AJ Hawk and Aaron Rodgers coming into the stadium with $1 million of pyro. Oh man.
Yeah. I really, really loved Pat's work on NXT. When he was like that whole thing with Adam Cole, the one-on-one match, surprised the hell out of me too. In a War Games match and held his own.
In a what?
War Games match, Battle Frolic. It's Battle Frolic now. But I thought to myself, because he was cutting promos, awesome, off the cuff, fire, heel promos. They were really great stuff, and I was like, this guy's got a future in this business. And then they put him on the commentary team on SmackDown and had him dance to the Guitar Gorilla playing Shinsuke Nakamura's theme, and I was like, I have no use for this person anymore. So it's one of those things, like, I get why people like him, but I feel like he's basically me. You either love him or loathe him. Yeah. And I'm sure there are people who are watching this show who hate my guts, and that's fine. I've cultivated that kind of personality. But also, Pat McAfee, you either think everything he does is so entertaining, or he just grates on your very soul. And that's me. I'm the second one. So yeah.
Oh, I'm so the first one, but I'll say this. I think I'm the first one because I'm constantly and desperately looking for something to be entertaining on the show. True. I'm sorry. I know that's aggressive, but whatever. I am one of the people that finds Alex terrible and grating. We got in a fight, and that's how I got the scar. So,
But
Ryan
both
said...
my legs are in casts. She broke both of my legs. All I got him was one lucky shot to the mouth, and then she broke both my legs.
That was it. And honestly, it was because he scraped his boot against my face. Like, it wasn't even a good shot from him.
No,
so
it's bad. A glancing blow, as Michael Cole would call it.
That's right. We have a chat coming in from Ryan saying, starting with SmackDown made me sour. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not that sorry.
You're gonna get plenty of AEW to close out the night.
Yeah, we wanted to be able to talk.
We'll get the bad stuff out of. We're saving the best for last.
We're gonna save the best for last. No, it's not the best. When you give women 2-minute matches and you have entrances later that are 15 minutes, we have no super chats about Naomi and Carmella, as well as like the next 4 segments, because there's nothing really memorable for this match, except I thought that Sasha Banks doing a Meteora to Zelina into the stairs was really cool. All right. Like, you had a champion lose. I don't hate it because it's singles, but I wish I had something to say about this match because I very much like Naomi, and I find Carmella funny in the ring, much more entertaining in the ring than I find her on Corey and Carmella, which Team Kalex will be previewing or reviewing, I should say, on Fightful Select tomorrow.
Yes.
But Alex, please give me a 20-minute analysis of this 14-second match. Would you please?
I won't. I will say that the little pre-tape backstage with Zelina and Carmella were kind of like, only a month until the best night of the year, my wedding night, says Carmella. I'm like, really? Are we doing that? Oh, that's going to be filmed for an episode of that thing we're going to have to watch to review it because people want us to review that crap. I like the idea that they won the titles, defended them a few times against the people that they beat the titles, beat for the titles. And now we had to wait until last week for them to create another tag team, and the only 2 tag teams will be meeting for the titles. It's just okay, great. I mean, I'm glad Naomi won, but also, why are you pinning your champions? So like, they can't do something good without doing something bad. It's impossible. Also, Natalya is shown watching the match from backstage. Like, I'm watching this. I was like, is she gonna go and find Beth Phoenix? Is Beth Phoenix gonna turn heel because Edge turned heel, and you're gonna get the Glamazons or whatever? They're gonna
Divas of Doom,
a triple threat. Divas of Doom. That's right. And you're gonna have a triple threat. We're gonna do that. Also, Natalya, you just got your ass kicked by Xia Li last week. Why are you involved in any way in WrestleMania? But Xia Li isn't. But Xia Li also wasn't even mentioned on the show tonight. Good thing they spent all that time building her up before debuting her, before putting her on the shelf, before having her come back, and then she had a match, and then she won the match, and then we never talked about her the next week because we're WWE.
Well, she's out protecting. Maybe she's in the NXT parking lot trying to protect people from getting mugged. So let's go, Alex. Alex sucks.
Yes. But we love him or hate him, you feel very strongly about him. Remember they were saying that about Roman Reigns like 3 or 4 years ago? Whether you love him or you hate him, you feel very strongly about him. It was mostly hate at the time.
I'm just spelling this up because Dante and NYC chiming in with Kate. I heard the scar was from fighting off sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads. Glad you're good. Welcome back. Thank you so much, Dante. I appreciate that, and I appreciate that backstory. Yeah. What people don't know is that rumor is true. I did fight sharks, but I fought them after the bears, where I got the injury. So I did fight sharks, and they did have laser beams attached to their head. However, I just beat them clean. Like, I didn't get injured at all. So
beat them clean. In the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3.
Ocean tank? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Circling back to the Austin Theory storyline, the best Austin Theory storyline would be Austin being the Brutus to Vince's Caesar. I miss the egg. I miss the egg at this point. Do you know how sad it is that I miss the egg?
The only reason we're getting this Austin Theory match is because it was the panic backup story that they used, because they were just going to have the egg be something that the 24/7 geeks were chasing around. And they pitched that to the Netflix people and are like, could you do something else besides the worst, the kayfabe worst people on your roster fighting over it? And they were like, sure. How about it gets stolen and we figure out the next night who stole it? Yeah, fine, whatever. But the original plan was never to have Austin Theory featured in this role whatsoever.
But
And they did it accidentally.
Like, it wasn't just that they gave us a kayfabe egg, Alex. It's that they acted like they were giving us The Rock.
I know.
Like, they set up everyone to believe that we were getting The Rock at home. And then in the live experience, they did it even more.
Yeah.
And then they didn't deliver The Rock. They delivered an egg instead of a rock. We have a super chat from Manny Toro saying that watching the interview and watching reactions to the interview, it actually made me hate Vince McMahon even more. It really does. Dead weights, really. I actually haven't watched the interview yet, but some people said it was really fascinating. So I'll give it a watch. But
he did refer to all the people he cut as dead weight. So
oh God.
Yeah. Cutting dead weight. That's what he said.
That's not great.
No, it's definitely not. Definitely not. Nope.
Speaking of not great, Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. For some reason, McIntyre tried to stab Corbin with his sword, and later, a dartboard. He just tried to stab. He didn't try. He stabbed a dartboard with a sword. Match was fine. Jinder Mahal actually. He looks pretty good. But I just have no interest in Corbin and Drew at WrestleMania, and I just have a really hard time believing that Drew McIntyre is so annoyed by jokes and the fact that his sword at one point was in a desk that he needs to fight them for like 8 months.
Yeah.
We did see one good moment in one of the backstages, though, where Drew beats Jinder and they're making jokes about it at this poker table for whatever reason. Corbin and Madcap, and Baron Corbin's face gets like serious as a heart attack, as JR would say, where he realizes like, oh shit, like this is getting to be real at WrestleMania. So I did appreciate that, like they at least got to something that has some sort of emotional buy-in or tension in some way. But the match was fine. I think we all knew which way this was going to go. I wasn't super surprised. They, of course, didn't reference that Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal had any history whatsoever. But, you know, I know you kind of tweeted something to the effect of, like, stab or get off the pot if you're going to be
like,
the sword
like the idea, though, that, like, first of all, these are absolutely Corbin's and Moss's friends. These guys look like the douchiest douche who ever douche to douche. They're just hey, how's it going? Look at my little top knot. Like, no, there's just awful human beings, you could tell. And I don't even know what kind of game they were playing. It wasn't poker. It was like, hey, I'm gonna slap my cards down, and I slapped another card down and I won. It definitely wasn't poker. But no,
it was slap poker.
It was slap poker.
Yeah.
And then yes, later, after Corbin was really scared of, like, oh no, look how quickly he beat Jinder Mahal, who sucks. He's gonna kill me at WrestleMania. Then, like 20 minutes later, we see him yucking it up playing darts in his own private conference room. I don't know what the hell's going on. And I have no idea how Drew McIntyre, who is 6'5" and 270 pounds, snuck into that room so that nobody saw him up until he put a sword in the dartboard. Somebody should have said, hey, Happy, there's a giant Scottishman here who's got a sword. Once you stab the thing and everyone runs away and he puts the sword up on his shoulder like, hey, look at me. Stab somebody or don't. At this point, stop doing the wishy-washy stuff. Either commit murder or don't. Stop teasing us with the possibility you're going to chop a limb off. Either do it or don't, and get rid of the damn prop. That's all I gotta say.
Impact shot someone, so I don't understand why they can't stab someone here. But what I would love would be to hear JR announced the altercation between the sword and the dartboard because Asian Joe thinks that dartboard has a family, Drew, which I love.
Or you could say about this entire feud being a feud that is going to lead to a WrestleMania match. You could say what JR said on Wednesday, which is make better judgments. Make better judgments and don't make this a Mania feud, for the love of God, especially with the guy that you are trusting us to believe has a chance to beat Roman, I guess, and or Brock after Mania is over. Like, this is such a dead-end feud. Beating Corbin will be... Corbin also, they keep saying Corbin's undefeated. He's won 3. He's 3-0 in televised singles matches. If you don't distill it down that far to televised singles matches, he's lost all kinds of matches since he became Happy Corbin. So that you can only say he's undefeated in 3 matches.
Okay, but here's the thing. I have a whole gimmick for my dad going of him being the undefeated Paul Hensler, and he has never fought a wrestling match, which is how I get to say he's undefeated. So, okay,
I suppose that's
all right?
true. Yeah,
Please calm down.
Okay.
JW Pringle just circling back on referring to released talent as dead weight. It's not great, but it is very Vince. Yeah, that's very true. We have a super chat also from Rob Reed saying, I guess we are supposed to forget that Drew and Jinder fought over a sword and a motorcycle all summer, and they were in a stable together. They've never referenced that in either feud. No.
That is also not the most ridiculous thing. They are asking you to currently forget about the past of their superstars, and we're going to talk about that.
We can get to that too. Corbin and Co were playing competitive Snap.
Perhaps they were.
It's very possible. Alex woke up and chose murder. Buddy, I do shows with him every Tuesday. Every day, Alex chooses murder.
Yeah,
I promise you. McIntyre sword, JW Pringle chiming in, is the opposite.
Chekhov's
gun. I love that.
Yeah.
Another great point from Rob Reed. Sue Young stabbed Allie in the neck, but Drew has stabbed a dartboard.
And a table. And a desk. A desk, which is how
a traveling desk.
This whole thing started.
City to city.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
So there is that. Mark Losper also was saying he didn't stab the dartboard with the sword. Darts just look different in Scotland. Which I love that idea. I cannot believe, and I apologize that I left out such an important segment, which was Shinsuke and Boog's Toyota ad, which came on earlier.
They were hiking through the woods. You're gonna love this, Kate. I don't know if you saw this. It's just so funny. Boog said to Nakamura, "Hey, buddy, my best friend, my backpack's kind of full, so could you carry my snack for me?" And he handed him one of those 15-foot party subs, and just hilarious. And then the very next shot, you can see them walking away without the sub. I was like, did they eat the sub? Did Nakamura, his very best friend, throw it on the ground? There's a lot of questions I have about this terrible truck ad. The chief among them, why is it on TV? I hate it so much. I hate both of these guys. God. I hate it so much. They just dragged down Shinsuke Nakamura, one of the most talented wrestlers in the history of mankind, with this ridiculous thing that they've saddled him with a shaved gorilla that plays guitar. And it's just, I just can't stand Boogs, so I just can't stand
Boogs is someone that I can't stand him in that I feel like he's dragging Shinsuke down instead of lifting him up. But he does have charisma, and he is an enormous human being that can do some really cool stuff with his strength in the ring. So I don't want to say I don't like him, and I don't even hate the character. I just don't understand. I've never understood or really liked the combination with Shinsuke, but I do think it's that he could become something. Like, I don't feel like it's a lack of potential with him. And we do have, I don't know if it's Eric 18 or Irsay 18 with a humper chat saying that Shinsuke and Boog's Toyota ad, LOL. I'm glad you said LOL because that's the closest to entertainment that I think anybody got out of it. But we do see their intro. We see Rick Boogs throw a very cheap guitar, as Joel Pearl pointed out on Twitter, and I also realized a very not high quality guitar. So it's okay that it got trashed, but they get jumped by Usos and Reigns.
Well,
And
Usos.
by the Usos, yeah.
To make way for Reigns. I have a question. What were Shinsuke and Boogs going to do? They were both in their gear. Did they have a tag match? And who was the tag match going to be against? Like Los Lotharios? Maybe. They weren't on the show. But like they just jumped them so they couldn't make their entrance. And then they had a thing in place of that, which was the Reigns promo. But why were they out there to begin with? Why'd you jump them? Oh no, I said to myself. Oh God, no. The program for the SmackDown tag titles is going to be the Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and the Guitar Gorilla. And I'm like, how many piss break matches can you have in one night?
Well, in their defense, it's spread out over 2 nights now, but we do have someone asking, guys, how can you hate Rick Boogs? I actually don't. I just don't like him in this role.
He might be fine elsewhere, but they've still never explained. Is he just because he likes to play guitar and Nakamura's entrance has guitar music? How do these guys in the last, not tonight's, but the previous terrible car ad they were in, you had Boogs asking like, hey, so what do you like to do when you're not wrestling? Wait a minute, you guys have been tagging together for 6 months. You haven't actually spoken outside of work ever? Like, it's just a weird thing. Hey, what do you like to do? I like to surf. Oh, really? I know that Shinsuke likes to surf, and I haven't been working with him for a year. That's a ridiculous thing. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's not great. So I'm not. Here's the thing. I think ring-wise, it'll be pretty good at WrestleMania. I think it's a bad program with bad creative around.
I think when Shinsuke's in the match, it'll be fine. I think they're just kind of Boogs toss the Usos all over the place, and then the Usos will cheat to win. Like it's just.
I'm kind of down for Rick Boogs throwing the Usos all over the place if it's done the right way, though.
I guess.
Joseph Snirk saying over Humper Chat that I'm going to go watch all of Nakamura's IWGP IC title matches and weep for what we could have had. Yeah, you don't even have to go that far back. You could just go back to NXT. You could go back to when he won his Royal Rumble, which was great. JW Pringle also chiming in saying Boogs and Elias have a rock off. Book it. They have no creative plans for the last guy with the guitar gimmick. I am pessimistic.
I'd much rather see Elias tag team with Shinsuke Nakamura, honestly. Like, I think Boogs is incredibly limited. And like, he does the thing that he does, which is he throws people around, and that's fine. But like, we haven't really seen him have to tell a story in the ring, which I guess you would probably have to in a tag team title match at WrestleMania. So maybe I'll be proven wrong. It happens quite often, but it doesn't stop me from making very vociferous predictions.
I wish you were more wrong more often, to be honest, because you're not as wrong as you are saying that you are here. And a lot of this, in my opinion, is not great. Rob Reed chiming in saying, I still don't understand why they named him Rick Boogs when Eric Bugenhagen is a
Eric Bugenhagen is a much better name. I actually really enjoyed the stuff that he was doing in NXT. It was really fun and subversive, and like a guy playing way too out of control air guitar is always going to be way more interesting to me than a guy who plays one song every week and says Boogs.
Hey, he did the Freddie Mercury Hey-O spot today.
He did.
So there's that. I'm with you, though, as far as I was like, what were they gonna do? It's kind of like, who was gonna be 30 in the Rumble before Brock came out? Like, things like that are just huge psychology gaps that I don't really appreciate. But we do get the Usos and the Viking Raiders in what I thought was a really good showing. The Viking Raiders are great. It's just felt very predictable, especially since we had an unpredictable title change earlier. I was like, they're not going to go ham with that. But a good showing. I really liked this match.
Fine. We all knew that the Usos were going to win, and the Usos did win, and that's it for the Viking Raiders. Thanks very much. Thanks for playing. You can go back to catering now, fellas. Like I mean, War Machine's one of the greatest tag teams to do it over the past decade, and they've just been dropping off a cliff now for several years in this booking. It feels like they won the number one contendership in like November. Like it just feels like they've been putting off this title match forever. They had been putting it off for weeks and weeks when they didn't have the match at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, like that's the weirdest thing in the world.
Weeks ago now at this point. Like it's and also like Sammy when he won the Intercontinental title match, like they didn't actually give it to him until like a month and a half later. Like, why are we like once you have the number one contendership, do the actual title match? It's weird.
I'm with you. More commentary on Rick Boog's Mercury Man over here. Josh Weaver chiming in saying, I would rather have them go back to Boog's playing his own entrance music on air guitar. Yeah, that was way better. And JW Pringle saying, I think this is directed to Alex especially. But Pat McAfee dances to Boog's music, Alex. Mm-hmm. Sheesh. I don't think maybe you missed that.
It's not even Boogs' music. It's Nakamura's music, which is fine.
What's his name? We got another... I'm just going to clean up some of these past segment ones while we're rolling through here because I am just trying to put off to what they've done to Big E as long as I possibly can. Yeah. Drew tries to murders. Another super chat we have coming in saying, if they're not using WWE studios to create Drew cinematically murdering people, what do you even have a film studio for? Thank you for that. That is a very, very fair point.
Yeah.
My goodness. I really love Big E. And this sucks. It sucks. Like, this whole thing sucks. It sucks that Big E had just such a broken title reign because of their booking. It sucks that he didn't get a Goldberg match when that was something he really wanted. It sucks that they've Uso'd and New Day'd us to death so much that they can't even really be in a meaningful tag program because tag team wrestling doesn't matter really outside of the tag picture. So instead, we have Sheamus and Ridge destroying Big E's four-wheeler at ringside. Mark Losper chiming in with the Humper chat saying, since I assume we're not getting SmackDown sour grabs, please use this as an opportunity to tee off on Big E openly admitting what we all know was true about his championship reign.
Yeah. This guy was champion at the beginning of this year. And if he gets a match at Mania, it'll be a meaningless tag match with Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland, I think, will his fourth or fifth ever match on the main roster will be at WrestleMania. And it'll be over an ATV that they stole and then demolished in a parking lot. Like,
we have scooters, we have ATVs. We have
the motorcycle.
Motorcycles. Mm-hmm. It's really just a lot of transportation and WWE main programming these days.
Transportation theft, grand theft ATV, and then grand demolishing ATV, and that leads to a Mania match. I'm assuming that's what we're getting out of this. I mean, I don't know, but like, could anything be? I mean, I don't know what the plan was before they were like, hey, let's throw Big E and Kofi in a match with Sheamus and Ridge Holland, who have zero heat. Like, there's zero heat on that team. Like, they tried to make them into something. It didn't work. And now, like, maybe I guess this is how you're going to build heat, by having them break Big E's birthday present? Question mark. Like, I don't know. Okay, I'm sure the match, at least the Sheamus portions of it, will be great. We'll see where Ridge is at this point. But like, he wasn't like setting the world on fire in NXT when he got called up. Then he broke his nose, and I feel like he's been kind of like just in this weird holding pattern where like, are you a real wrestler or are you just a big body? And I don't know that yet because we haven't seen enough of it. But if anybody's going to make him look great, I guess it's Kofi and Big E. I guess that's where we're at right now.
For sure. And I think Ridge Holland, I feel like from what we've seen, it does seem like it's a little more than like a Donkey Kong situation that we can kind of get from some of these. But like, I think a lot of this got gummed up with Cesaro because they were just mired in the storyline. And I think they probably didn't know if he was really leaving until he did, because it sounded like they were trying to come to terms. So I think some of the start and stop between the injury and then where was the storyline with Cesaro was going to go, because it felt like maybe they were going to hint at reforming the bar. But, you know, I got to be honest, I also like had to run to the bathroom. Was there a finish to the match, or did they just drive away on the ATV?
No, I think he hit Kofi. Kofi was on because it was just Big E versus Sheamus, and then Kofi was sitting on the ATV going beep 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 with the horn of the ATV.
Thing? Yeah,
okay. And Michael Cole said that takes some skill to play the New Day theme on the ATV horn. I'm like, no, it doesn't, not at all. Okay, cool. And then I think he hit him with either the truncheon or a chair or something to knock Kofi off the ATV, and then that distracted Big E, and Sheamus attacked Big E and left him laying, and then they stole the ATV and drove away and got intentionally counted out, and that was the match, which didn't actually really ever start.
I just hope Big E knows that we love him. So that's all I have to say about that. We have a humper chat from Joseph Stark saying, War Machine fell off the same cliff that Max Kellerman has been saying Tom Brady was going to fall off of for the last 7 years. Yeah. And he did not. Yep. That's fair. And it's also not because of them, which is frustrating.
No, God, no, they're so great.
Yeah. Oh, and we have our wonderful moderator, Louise, saying that the match never actually officially started.
Oh, good.
So,
good. I'm glad.
I'm
glad we did that then.
You know, we don't get a lot of rematches on the show. So.
No, true.
But that brings us to our main event, and then we can talk about Rampage, which everybody really wants to talk about. And there's so many more chats waiting for us about the scar on my face and how I got it. So we will dive back into those before going into Rampage. But we had Ronda Rousey versus Sonya Deville. And
we also had, like, again, I will talk about this segment. It will take me 10 seconds. Roman Reigns cut a promo about how he's going to beat Brock Lesnar. Yes. Apparently, both he and Brock Lesnar are defending their titles tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden, and we don't know who either of them is facing. Thank you.
Yeah. When this took like 15 minutes of TV time, all I could think about was the women's match, and I didn't feel like he said anything new. So I just
zero new, except for the fact that I was like, wait, why don't either of you guys know who you're facing it? Do they not know and they haven't figured it out yet? Or is it a big surprise?
It feels to me, if this was being televised, I would absolutely think Cody Rhodes was showing up.
Yeah.
But there's conflicting reports out there too. Cass from Body Slam, who's usually very reputable with this stuff, said that those talks have fizzled out. So if they don't get Cody, like, that was the most interesting thing on the road to WrestleMania for me, was like the possibility of Cody showing up. So we'll see. That could also, of course, be a swerve. He's reporting what he has heard. So,
yeah.
Do you want to talk about the match, or do you just want to talk about the fact that they said that Charlotte Flair's never tapped out ever before?
It was 11 seconds. I apologize. No, the match is nothing. They've decided, okay, Ronda, you're a babyface, so please, when you come out, fish something out of the inside pocket of your jacket and give it to a child at ringside, and make you high five everybody on your way to the ring, so everybody knows you're a babyface. Charlotte was on commentary through this whole thing. They had a video package where last week on SmackDown, in this weird interview thing they had with Ronda. Ronda says, I'm going to be the first woman to tap out Charlotte Flair in half a quadrennial, which, of course, if you don't know, because that's a really weird unit of time, is 2 years. It's a really weird-ass Vince way of saying 2 years. But in the video package, they cut out in half a quadrennial. So she says, I'm going to be the first woman to tap out Charlotte Flair. And I was like, well, see, when you cut out the second part of that sentence,
the first part's not true.
Then the first part's not true. But I chalked it up to being a bad edit, and they edited out a weird way of her saying it because they didn't want it to be confusing, so it'll be fine. But then Charlotte was on commentary saying, no one's ever tapped me out. And I was like, well, we know that's not true. I mean, Asuka did it 2 years ago. Sasha did it a whole bunch of times. Becky did it. Natalya did it. Like, we've seen you get tapped out. It's a thing. It's a provable falsehood for you to say you've never been tapped out. And I was like, oh, maybe that's just Charlotte, like, talking herself up. Okay. The official WWE Twitter is like, will Ronda Rousey be the first woman to ever tap out Charlotte Flair? I'm like, no, she won't, because it's been done many, 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 many times.
Yeah, and it's not like it was just done on NXT and they don't really acknowledge it. It's not like it was like, one thing that I love is, I think when Sasha gets her in the bake statement, it looks so good. Like, it's in very
Charlotte
memorable
bends herself
spots.
out like all the way back. It looks so great.
It's wild, like what physically she does. It like sticks out in your head.
Sasha beating Charlotte for the first time on Raw to win the Raw Women's Championship. That match is one of the most fun Raws I ever covered for Fightful. Like, it was just like, that match was so great. The crowd went crazy for it. It was so good. And, you just made that thing never exist. You made that thing, you did the flashy thing from Men in Black to us. And that match didn't exist now.
We have a super chat coming in saying, Sasha, Becky, and Asuka have all made Charlotte tap. This feud is so bad. Main event, hashtag main event, Becky and Belair. Yeah, I mean, I wish that was the case. Also, their Twitter beef tonight ruled. I don't know if you saw Becky's post, but she put up a picture of her with the marks from the hair whip, and Seth Rollins is in the background, and their baby daughter is like hugging the mirror, like how little kids get fascinated by a mirror. It was so cute. And she was like, my daughter can't even look in the mirror. It's so bad. It was just so perfectly done. Yeah. Becky has a great Twitter game. But the match was what it was. I don't think there was anything super surprising about this. I did like that the post-match antics had Charlotte get put in an ankle lock, because that's something that made sense, because Charlotte on commentary was saying that Ronda Rousey is a one-trick pony with the arm bar. Yeah. It was nice to see her lock something else in. I know Ronda's not for everyone. In the ring, she is really good. Like, she moves so fast. She's so intimidating. She, I think, sells unbelievably well considering her background. But I just appreciated that, like, okay, at least we went home with something that made sense, and I think adds some sort of intrigue to what's going on.
Yeah, I like that too. And then, of course, Charlotte with the visual tap out while in the ankle lock, and Michael Cole screaming, "Oh, look, Charlotte's tapping out! That's never happened before," or some crazy thing. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you tell this obviously provable lie? Like, it doesn't make it. Why choose to do it? Why?
Alex, it's so embarrassing. It's like, you don't even want people knowing that you're watching SmackDown. Like, you would, if you were watching it on your computer, you would want to hide that from people. And
you would.
The best way to do that is probably by using NordVPN.
Mm-hmm. I've started to travel a lot more for work, which is why I'm not on this show right now. And there are little things that I'm discovering when I'm on the road, like I can't watch SmackDown unless I'm live at the hotel because YouTube TV tells me I'm out of my region. Fortunately, NordVPN.com/Fightful can help, and it helps me watch a lot of shows that I would normally miss because they're region blocked in my area. It helps me get better prices on a lot of pay-per-view stuff. NordVPN.com NordVPN.com/Fightful. You can also use that code Fightful, and you're going to get 70% off your NordVPN plan plus 1 additional month for free. And it's also risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. There is nothing to lose here with NordVPN.com/Fightful. It's the equivalent of buying a cup of coffee every month, a small price to pay for premium cybersecurity and access to a vast amount of entertaining content. NordVPN.com/Fightful. It has made my life a whole lot easier, especially on the road. Check us out. Use that code Fightful at NordVPN.com/Fightful.
I might have a chunk missing here,
Mhm.
but my segues
Oh yeah.
still
Yeah.
beautiful. We're gonna clean up the rest of these SmackDown super chats, and then we're gonna head into AEW Rampage, and I'm so excited because it was so much fun. Mark Osper saying Natty tapped out Charlotte and she lost to Aaliyah. Well, my goodness, ain't that correct?
Yeah.
We had Eloquent saying WTF is this revisionist history of Charlotte never tapping out before LMAO? Yeah, we hear you loud and clear on that one.
Yeah.
Mark Losber also saying the Big E situation looks even worse, if at all possible, this week after we hear that Vince told a black man he sounded too smart. Oh, man. Regular Fightful, you don't even have to be a select subscriber, but you probably should because it's just $5 a month, and it's the most breaking news in wrestling. But on regular Fightful, Jeremy, who is a transcription god at this point, covered a story where Keith Lee said that Vince didn't like his delivery when they were talking about his character, that he wasn't intense and angry enough, which, if you can read between the lines,
you sound too smart for your own good.
There you go.
You sound too smart for your own good.
We'll be here for 6 more hours if we start to get into that, so I'm just gonna let it sit. But go read the article. My goodness. Hey, look, what's that over there? Which is a fantastic handle. Said, imagine how Malachi and Keith are being used in AEW and thinking that they're dead weight. Yeah. Yep. Not great. Mark Losper also saying there's something deeply strange about Vince thanking Pat McAfee for sharing his moment under the learning tree only few ever got about an interview where he referred to released people as dead weight. It's not great, guys.
Yeah.
It's not great. Mark Osborne also said if they're revising stuff in WWE, can they revise Gunther's name? They could.
They could.
Oh, they could, buddy. But let's talk about something awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the triple threat match that kicked off AEW Rampage. My goodness. I was excited for this because AEW doesn't do triple threats a lot. I personally don't love triple threats. I think it's something WWE actually does well as far as the in-ring side of them usually goes. But I don't like them because I have a hard time usually buying into a story where a champion is like, you know what? More chances to lose the title is a good idea. But this one was fantastic. For me, there were a few things that stood out. That Tower of Doom spot was absolutely insane. Sammy's coast to coast was ridiculous. This was really, really fun for a few reasons, in my opinion. One, they all work somewhat different styles. I don't think Darby and Sammy are that far apart, but Sammy's ground game is a little different. And Darby Allin just always looks like he has a death wish. And Andrade is completely different than the two of them. And they also work at completely different paces. Like Darby is so often a million miles an hour. We saw how diverse he is and that he can go slower pace too when he was fighting MJF. But for the most part, he's very high speed. Sammy's kind of somewhere in between. And Andrade's slower, higher impact. I was so impressed by him in this match. He has this ability to be so cool, like so effortlessly cool and so laid back. But when he puts you in certain positions, if he's got you in certain moves and throws you into the turnbuckle, it looks so violent. And because he's so chill, it comes across as so explosive, in my opinion. I just loved the way this match was put together. I loved Darby and Sammy's chemistry early on. I don't love Andrade taking the pin. I know you hate Andrade taking the pin, but it does at least make sense with what they have set up for the pay-per-view that Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara, have to be on the same page. So I don't hate it. I just love seeing Andrade finally having some momentum, and I didn't want anyone to get pinned in this match, so that was hard. But ultimately, Sammy Guevara retains. What did you think of this opening to Rampage?
The match was a damn work of art. It's so cool to watch Andrade in a match with guys this size, because he gets to be like Brock Lesnar. He's just chucking dudes all over the place. And I mean that Tower of Doom where Sammy held Darby up in a vertical suplex, and then Andrade like walked like 4 or 5 steps in the powerbomb position before dropping him. Like both of those guys, what studs. And Andrade has lost clean 2 Rampages in a row. He lost last week clean. He lost tonight. Now, he took a lot of damage, and I get that. A bunch of finishers, and I understand. And had he not lost last week clean, I wouldn't have as much to say about it. That dude should get pinned clean twice a year, not back-to-back weeks. Like, that guy's on another level. If you watch him in this match, you watch him in stuff that he's had, the match he had with Cody, the match he's had with Pac, the matches he had with Pac, my God, he's in another class. And I can't believe that in AEW he could be being held back because he doesn't speak perfect English like he was held back in the other place. He's so transcendent as a performer that, I mean, I'm tired of not seeing him be like the 3rd or 4th top guy at the very least. He's so amazing. And I just want to see him get a run where he's not being felt like he's moving up. Like, he had that very quick feud with Cody, and the match was amazing, but he lost. I get why he lost, but he lost. And now he's been like, oh, hey, Darby, I want to fight you and the old man who's your father, or the guy who owns you or whatever, Sting, and also Sammy. He's going to lose that feud probably come on Sunday, like probably. So because Matt Hardy's going to walk out on him, and that's the way that thing's going to end. We'll talk about a prediction later. Like, I'm tired of watching Andrade lose. That's all. Like, he's one of the tippy top guys in the whole wide world at wrestling, and I'm tired of watching that guy lose. That's all.
I completely get that. The finish in ring wise was insane too. We do have to talk about that. That Darby Allin, of course, goes to the top rope to hit the coffin drop, and then Sammy comes in with a senton. That was, the camera work on this was so good. You just did not see him kind of like coming in.
I'll disagree with you with this. The move before the coffin drop was the GTH to Andrade, and he was about to pin Andrade, and then Darby runs in and shit cans him to the outside, and the camera follows Sammy, and you can see Sammy take no damage, roll and sit there and look back in the ring for his cue to go back up onto the top rope. Like, that bit of camera work was like,
took it out.
I was like, well, now I know that Darby's going to hit the coffin drop, and then Sammy's going to hit the 630. And like, it was that particular moment. It was like, I wish I didn't know ahead of time in that moment, because I wanted some more, unknowables there. But listen, the match itself was amazing. The finish was amazing. I just don't want to see my boy Andrade taking losses like that back to back to back to back.
I have a theory, but I don't know how it works, but I feel like we're going to get Andrade and Miro when Miro comes back. And so I don't think I'm going to care about any of these losses, because I think I'm going to sink my teeth into that. But we have some agreement with you. Mark Losper saying that this is the only cost to having a quality roster and making fans care. Guys like Andrade and Ethan Page don't get enough wins. It is. It's tricky. And I think AEW is exceptionally good at protected losses. When you're taking a ton of I'm an Eddie Kingston mark, and I am ready for him to get the win. You know what I mean? Against Jericho. So there's some guys like Eddie Kingston just out to kick everybody's ass. It doesn't necessarily need it. I think Andrade is a guy that you want to have wins, that you want to have momentum behind it. You guys have been so supportive tonight. I appreciate it so much. We've got Leslie coming in with a humper chat saying that's how it's spelled in here with a lot of E's, which I find very fun. The finish to the TNT title match was very reminiscent to the Armageddon match where Jeff won the title. I loved the whole dang thing beside who got pinned. I understand that. And actually, I'm going to switch my vote there because you could have sowed some really fun seeds with having Darby take the pin. So I agree. I agree entirely. And we have Brent Lockman saying, so after the Tower of Doom, Lee Hobbs, Wardlow, your move.
Yeah.
I love that. James Zimmerman chiming in with, oh me meow, that TNT title match did indeed. Sammy is on fire. Darby heel turn, baby, so he can fight Sting at Double or Nothing. Darby has such an interesting connection with the crowd that I don't know if you want to turn him heel, but because he's such an artistic guy, I personally am very interested to see what a Darby heel turn would look like. Hey, what's that over there? Also chiming in saying Dragon Lee versus 2-belt Sammy, book it TK. Oh yeah, we'll get to the ROH stuff because I haven't had a chance to talk about it and it makes my heart sing. But Flowman saying, didn't need Blue Chew after that TNT title match. You know what? Some people do need Blue Chew.
They do.
But not after that TNT title match. But
no.
If you also watch SmackDown, you might be having some mixed physical reactions in your body. So Sean Ross Sapp is here to tell you all about Blue Chew.
Your penis is soft. Let me help. Not like that. BlueChew.com. Code FIGHTFUL. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but it's ready when you are, or when you're not. It's not about having a problem. It's about having that performance, that excellent performance, that confidence. Fill out their online questionnaire. You work with an online physician. You won't have to wait in line at the pharmacy or the doctor's office. It's shipped discreetly and directly to you, and you get that first shipment free when you use that code FIGHTFUL at checkout. You want to be confident, don't you? You want that pay-per-view, that main event performance. Don't let yourself or somebody else down. Use BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
So there you go, guys.
There you go.
We'll just round out our little plug skis by saying subscribe to Fightful Select. You guys have been so good to us. We got up to 6,000 followers. A lot of those fall off at the beginning of the month, but we always get them back. Gonna be more scoops coming right out of Revolution. We're on the road to WrestleMania. Sean's gonna have a lot more for you on Fightful Select. You can also catch Alex and I reviewing Corey and Carmella for some reason, and our characters of Linda and Sheila, which we're very, very excited about. And you can catch Team KLX once again on the AEW Revolution post show, which I'm so excited about because as much fun as it is being sour with you on Tuesdays, it's also very fun to talk about a product that we like. And we liked this opener. So did Jordan Scott, who said, so I feel we'll get 2 turns in the American Hardy Family Office match from Matt and Darby, where Andrade still gets the win because of the Darby turn. That's interesting booking. I don't hate that. I would like to see Andrade get some wins, but that's kind of neat. I didn't think about that as a possibility. So
yeah, there's I absolutely believe that whoever wins this ladder match on Sunday is going to beat either Scorpio or Sammy, and which is very interesting. But if Darby has serious beef with Sammy, that could be really interesting for how the whatever happens there comes around. But I mean, not Darby turning heel, just hating Sammy Guevara is enough. Is enough. Just he doesn't be a heel. He just does not like that dude, and that could be a really fun feud to go through into the spring.
You guys are so good to me. We are going to get back to your theories about how I got this scar, but some other wonderful messages coming in from you. Dan saying, happy to see you back, Kate. I'm so excited for the pay-per-view and future of AEW. Goodness gracious, me too, my guy. These possibilities are limitless. I see what you did there, and it's all because honor is real, partner. You got Keith Lee, Ring of Honor, and Eddie Kingston into one super chat. You're speaking my language, buddy. I appreciate that. We have RH saying that these live editions of Rampage are off the chain. I wanted Andrade and Ethan Page to win. Deeb and Sheeta beating the shit out of each other rules. We're going to get to that too, but I do agree. I feel like they really step it up on these live Rampage, and part of it is probably because they just simply don't have to worry about spoilers at all. But we got a Scorpio and Dan Lambert promo. And Sammy Guevara and Scorpio for the Dynamite, and Paige Van Zant is all elite. There's a lot to unpack there. I think Paige Van Zant was the one good thing to come out of all that nonsense with American Top Team. I think she has a lot of charisma. I also would like to see them round out their division with Athena and Willow Nightingale and Trisha Dora and people like that. Now, I don't know how the women that were in the Women's Ring of Honor tournament, I don't know who got signed out of that. But that Women's Ring of Honor tournament happened very soon before they shut down, very soon before they shut down. So I don't know what the contract situation is. Willow's been featured a lot on their programming. I think they're scouting her, but Paige Van Zant is something that's entirely adjacent to that. I feel like she might just be more of a personality. She very well could fight. She certainly has the background for it, but I think it's a good signing. I just would like to see some more traditional wrestlers in there as well.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Paige Van Zant signing? And then we'll back into what they did with the ladder match here.
Well, I don't agree with her being signed before the people that you said.
Sure.
Willow, Athena, Trisha Dora, like those, especially those three.
Assuming that's the case. We don't actually know. Like Athena might show up Sunday or whatever.
We don't know, of course, but okay, great. Paige Van Zant, let's find out. She's a project. We don't know what she's going to be like in a year, but she's a project. And if you've got a developmental brand, that's where you develop her. And we figure out what else. I think she certainly has a lot of personality, which is good. And then we'll see what else we can do with that beyond that. But we'll talk more about this later. I thought for sure that the end game of Deeb's rookie challenge was bringing in a rookie to AEW who's not a rookie elsewhere. And then all that person has to do to win the rookie challenge is just last 5 minutes. That's all they've got to do. My own personal thing was I was like, this is how I would book it. Athena comes out and she's like, she's not a rookie. She is here. So technically you have to fight her, and you do 5 minutes and it's really good. And Athena hits her, whatever she called it before, she called it the eclipse, whatever, the O face. She hits that at 4:58. She can say, I would have beat you if there wasn't a 5-minute time limit. And Serena says, you didn't beat me anyway. This is off. I'm never wrestling you again. And then we could get Hikaru Shida back. We've already seen Athena's in here. She's got a little thing with Serena Deeb, and you could revisit that after Shida and Deeb are done. But then Athena can go on and do other stuff as well. I really wanted the payoff of somebody, anybody, but particularly in my book, Athena, of answering the call as a rookie, even though they're not a rookie.
Yeah, I was gunning for that from the beginning. And I'm also gunning for you to book your own promotion because you have a very good mind for these kind of things.
Well.
We're going to go to some chats about me because I have an ego about myself tonight. All week I've been stifled from doing some wrestling podcasts, but we have MJ Johnson saying K versus the Three Bears, revenge for Goldie confirmed. That is true. That is happening Sunday. Me and Tony Khan have a very great working relationship. So Shotkid29 saying, didn't catch either show tonight, but had to pop it and support Team Kalex. You guys rule. Traded wrestling for the Batman tonight, and it was worth it. I've heard good things about that. I'm not a Marvel gal myself so much, but
That's DC. You're gonna get a lot
I'm
of
not
angry chants.
I'm
You're
sorry.
gonna get a lot of.
This is
She
why,
doesn't
though.
know. She doesn't know. She wasn't big. She wasn't making the mistake. She just doesn't. She didn't know.
I don't know. Yeah, no, that was not intentional. I get so intimidated by those lineages because I'm like, where do I start and what do I do? But I've heard good things for people that are into DC and Marvel. I am the Lucha saying word on the street is HH Elizabeth got stitches because the lack of the MLB season made her smash her head through a window. I'm gonna Sean and Marty Rob Manfred through a window. But through a window at a bear in a Red Sox jersey. That is also extremely accurate. Again, all of these things did happen. The scar is from the bear specifically. Brenda Talgate saying, just wanted to welcome back Kate. Team Kalex is the best. Well, thank you, Brendan. Rob Reed saying $10 for Kate's battle scar. Yes. My battle scar is money. There you go. Was it Buster the bear dog lead that fought you, Kate? Harry Azawa says it was. It was, and I told my dog he sounded too smart for his own good because I'm a terrible person. MDK444 live. Glad to have you back. Glad to be back, man. I felt so disconnected from something I really, really love doing, which is hanging out with you guys and Alex. It sucked to not be there Tuesday. So Mark Quill saying, what would a Kate stable be and what would the name be? I suggest the Catriarchy.
That's good. Catriarchy is badass. I love
so
that.
Great. I mean, it's me.
And then anybody who you were up against could say, fight the Catriarchy.
Down with the Catriarchy. It would be Punk. It would be Eddie Guerrero if we could time travel, but Kingston right now. Probably legit Layla. Oh God, I can't. My stable's gonna be 900 people by the end of it, but I mean, definitely Punk and Eddie, which is no surprise to anybody. Jennifer sending in a humper chat saying, glad to hear your voice, Kate, and happy you are healing okay. Hope the pupper is good too. He's been very depressed. It's been sad, but he's coming out of it. Happy for the Kalex duo. Rampage was lit tonight. Kate's bangs and Swerve the Realist versus Bear Country. Bucket TK. We're gonna go back to the wonderful things you said about me after we go through the rest of some of these Rampage segments. I like that they made room for another entrant with Scorpio Sky, and that they booked that otherwise. I think it was smart because I feel like Scorpio Sky's promo was true. Like, I already won this. So
I already won this, and I've been angling for this match. I've been undefeated for 365 days. He gets his one-on-one match next Dynamite, and the following Dynamite we get the winner of the ladder match. It's there. We got a couple of really good TNT title matches coming up.
I think it belongs to Scorpio Sky. I really hope he's our next champion. I feel like he truly deserves it.
I would not be surprised to see Scorpio Sky win it from Sammy, maybe even via like Darby screwing over Sammy because Darby is begging something, and because Scorpio's a heel and he won it via chicanery himself, I wouldn't be surprised to see him lose it the following week, depending on who wins the ladder match. So
agreed. That would be really fun. I'm ready for a heel Darby. Why not? Hey, you want to talk about ROH real quick before we talk about the
sure, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about it because we have some super chats about it. You said this earlier. I can't believe this didn't click into my brain. William Regal to ROH? Hardcore Kate. That was Alex and I were just talking over Twitter, and you said that, and I was like, I'm going to laugh very hard if AEW gives us AEW and NXT, because NXT was kind of ROH with William Regal's influence. So sign me up for that. That was from Perry, and we appreciate the super chat. Yeah. The Nerd Guru saying, give me Regal to run ROH. War Games of Honor. I mean, all day. Yeah. I think I loved ROH because it was so like there were a lot of talent that I really, really, really love at ROH. But what I loved about ROH was it was sports-based feeling and it was storytelling driven, so that the talents all felt really important. They used divisions better than anybody. They actually made sense. And they had rules and they followed them. And I loved it. It was one of my favorite hours of wrestling on television. So I think if you combine that with William Regal's advisement on character work, you're looking at a really, really, really entertaining product. And hey, what's that over there? Saying Cody to ROH. That is something that is kind of circulating now. And intrigues me greatly, because if it's true that Cody wanted creative and that's part of the reason he was leaving, literally booking and creating the stars of the future might be something that's very appealing to him.
Yeah.
And you could bring him back as a heel tomorrow. So just depends what his motivations are. Alex, what do you think about, I mean, we talked about Regal and we love Regal, but Regal, Cody, who do you think is running the ship? Because I feel like Tony Khan there's not enough hours in a day for that guy anymore to also run another promotion.
I think Regal and Samoa Joe running ROH should be kind of cool, because we know they have a fantastic working relationship. They have really similar ways they view wrestling, and they could put together some really great stuff, and have Joe could appear as, he could be the authority figure who gets to wrestle. Okay, like the idea of, I don't know who you would put in this particular role, but a young guy, maybe like a Daniel Garcia, who gets punished for his antics in AEW and sent to ROH. Like whatever, like, get out of here, says Tony Khan, go over there or whatever. And he still just becomes like this menace who won't listen to authority. And finally, like he threatens Regal, and Regal says, no, my days in the ring are done, young man. But I have a friend here. Perhaps you know Samoa Joe. And then we could have a Samoa Joe and Daniel Garcia match that would just check all of my boxes.
The possibilities are so freaking endless, man. It just makes me so happy. It really, really does. Yeah. So we have kind of a little off the beaten path thing that we're gonna do before we dive back into Rampage. We had a monster super chat that got donated at the end of Wednesday's show, and Sean missed it. And so he created a video to make sure that it was addressed. He also emailed the person that donated it, but we just wanted to take a minute here and make right, because it was a very generous one. And Sean, even if it's the minimum, he always tries to make sure that those statements get read and addressed. So Sean recorded this video just for that. So here you go.
Hey guys, Sean Ross Sapp here, not on this weekend's shows as I'm heading to Orlando for Revolution. Got to be up at 4:30 to catch a flight. But we forgot a couple of, or we didn't forget, we missed a couple of super chats and humper chats on the Wednesday show. Things were very crazy that night. So unfortunately, we missed a couple, including a very, very generous one from Hey Shern. If you didn't see Hey Shern, I did email you. I posted a tweet, but I wanted to make sure that your questions got read. That was a very generous donation, and we want to make sure you get your money's worth. You said, so now Tony Khan buying ROH, there are a couple of questions. What does this mean for Deonna Purrazzo as ROH Women's Champ? So as far as I know, she's still booked for Supercard of Honor. She hasn't been announced as I'm filming this, which is a couple minutes after that AEW show. And her opponent is TBD still. I don't know if that means she hasn't been told who it is, or if they just don't know who it's going to be as of yet. But from what I understand, the original plan was to have Deonna Purrazzo continue as ROH champ for quite some time. This is something that had been brought up to her late last year, and she was on board with, and it was unfinished business for her. She has a couple of people of influence that are pushing for her in AEW, namely Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And then there are maybe some hurdles that she would have to face based on past relationships and things of that nature, which really shouldn't matter at this stage. Should be null and void, and I think likely are as a result of a lot of that stuff. I think Britt's word holds a lot more weight than anybody else's that would probably be a detractor for her, and I don't think that would be an issue anymore. In fact, she's been very good to work with from most of the people that I've heard from. She is a match that a lot of people want, so I think that we're probably going to see her continue in that role. And I think there's a good possibility she would sign there or AEW full-time in the future. Then you asked, what's the possibility of TK absorbing other talent like Gresham and the Briscoes? Well, Gresham, his ROH deal was up after the week after Final Battle. Obviously, he's still ROH champion, the original ROH champion, and he would get approval through the office before defending that. He was at Dynamite last week, and he was there the night before he had to be in Atlanta for his own show. You don't just go to Bridgeport, Connecticut to hang out. Like, you just don't go there on a random Wednesday when you got to run a show in Atlanta the next day. The Briscoes, there's a lot more that meets the eye. I have heard there was a bit of a holdup in them being involved with AEW at one point, but they had been backstage as well. FTR is pushing hard for their match. But a couple weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought that they would be involved in AEW, and maybe they won't. But now I don't think the FTR match is off the table. I don't think they're still contracted. I could be wrong, though. And Axel Hunter said, a possible strategy for ROH, a second promotion could let TK sign even more talent, then starve WWE when they give up on this no indie shtick. I don't know if Tony Khan would go that route. I think he's probably of the belief there's always going to be good talent somewhere. It's just a matter of how you use it, if that makes sense. Again, sorry that we missed those super chats, but thank you all so much for the support. Wednesday was a great show. I hope you guys support Alex and Kate, as I'm going to be feeding them some information as I learn it, so they'll have a bit of backstage info as well, hopefully. Thank you, guys, and hopefully I'll see you on Monday unless my flight gets canceled.
So that is Sean. As we were talking ROH, we just wanted to make sure that we threw those wonderful things in there from him. And again, those some really, really generous super chats. And we always want to make sure that we are acknowledging people who are supporting us. So thank you for those. Just some more support for this whole thing. I can't even get into it, like how incredible it is for me as such an ROH fan. But give me Regal to run ROH War Games of Honor. I hope AEW brings back ROH Champions versus All-Star from, hey, what's that over there? As well as saying Samoa Joe versus Hook and Garcia in a Pure Rules match. Like, the possibilities are endless. Yeah. I think Samoa Joe still being out there makes this all the more interesting. He's so interesting because he has ties to Impact and ROH and so many people in AEW because of that. So he can show up anywhere and feel like a big deal. I just want to see that walkaway spot. I also thought he was absolutely brilliant on commentary when he was doing commentary for WWE. And if he was doing
they're going to figure out a way to, they're going to got to figure out who's going to be on commentary for ROH. Like Samoa Joe heading that up, would be a really cool thing too.
I love it. But back to Rampage, guys.
Yes.
Death Triangle Challenge House of Black, and we get a debut I did not see coming. I don't think I ever would have predicted. I'm confused a little by it.
You can't. But can we before we talk about who the debut was? Alex Abrahantes and his weird like vampire shtick, like he's like going out to trick-or-treating as a 9-year-old with his hood and his weird makeup, and he's like, House of Black, you talk about how you always win, but we beat you. You only win when you use your tricks or whatever. But you can never beat the three of us. And I was like, oh, please tell me, Abrahantes, you're not going to get in the ring with Buddy Murphy. You're going to die. And you're just going to die. And then we get a response promo from House of Black, which was awesome. And then they show up behind them and they said, when I said the three of us, I didn't mean me. We have our own monster. And because they were talking about Penta taking people's arms and stuff, and Penta, that was his whole gimmick in Lucha Underground. Taking people's arms was his whole shtick. He would break people's arms after he beat them and everything.
As was Penta Oscuro. Like this character is a revival of that entirely.
Exactly. Yeah. So when he says monster, and you've already conjured up Lucha Underground, there's only one monster from Lucha Underground. So when the lights go out, I was like, holy shit, Matanza Cueto. And it was not Matanza Cueto. It was the opposite of Matanza Cueto. It was definitely not what I was expecting. Because Rowan walks out, Eric Redbeard, and I was like, hold up, I need to find, you got to find me video of this job interview. How is Eric Redbeard getting the call for this spot? I think it's going to be fun. God bless him. I think it's so cool that like he has this connection to Brody Lee's home where he can come every now and then and do this thing. But it was completely out of left field. It does not feel like he is related at all to these people. But okay, they're doing a trios match on the buy-in. I'll watch that. Yeah, why not?
He's never someone that I felt like was hugely outstanding to me. But I don't think he's ever been in a position where he's had to be, and I don't think he's going to have to be in that position here. So I don't mind it at all. It was probably like a fairly inexpensive contract to get. I think it's a very nice nod to Brody Lee too. I think that's really beautiful. I was just, I mean, out of left field. I like being surprised out of left field. I wish Tony Khan would surprise us out of left field more, but this was well into Fowl's territory of left field, my dude. This was funny. And Abrahantes, yeah, the dressed up gimmick, I was like, yeah, Lucha Underground was theatrical. That works for me. Master Vinter, Eric Redbeard, I love it. Yeah. Now that Redbeard is in AEW, we need a Buddy Danielson and Redbeard comeback. Very well pulled. I appreciate that, but this was really interesting. I certainly did not see it coming in any way, shape, or form. So that's good for them. Good for him. I think he's exactly what they said. He's a heavy. And I think him and Brody King will be able to do some really fun stuff and beat the hell out of each other. Yep. Why not?
That'll be fun. And here's the thing that part of Buddy Matthews' first unique skill set is that dude can bump his ass off. So I can't wait to see the offense that he takes from Eric Redbeard. That's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like this is a little appetizer for whenever Phoenix is healthy, because that is going to be your real feud. I think if we ever get the ROH trios titles resurrected and actually used via ROH and AEW, I think the first major feud will probably be UE versus Kenny and the Bucks. But I would love, like, for the first real long reign to be House of Black. I think those guys with the trios titles, ooh boy, that could be so much fun with those three guys together.
And it could end with Malachi and Bud Matt betraying each other.
Yeah,
I love it. Back to me and the Bears, though, real quick, and then we'll dive into some more of those super chats. But the Nerd Guru was saying the greatest trick Bears ever pulled was convincing the world that they could take Kate Elizabeth in a fight. As we're talking about trios, like me versus three Bears, I don't even need a tag team. No. So
we wouldn't even tag out.
No, why? I mean, I would be holding them back. You know,
it could be three actual Bears versus you and a goldfish and a baby, and you wouldn't even need to tag out. You wouldn't even need to tag out. You just take them all on by yourself.
And I would go, this tag partner is just right. JW Brinkle saying Goldilocks and the Three Bears took a turn when Mama Bear looked at Kate and said, "You people have been sleeping in my bed." Kate went Red Ross blacked out and then woke up with a new rug and a scratch. You guys rule. Michael Branson saying Kalex on a Friday. I guess we have been good boys and girls. Alex, lovely as always. Kate, Elizabeth, nice bangs. You got us on Sunday too, buddy. And if you want to torture yourself with a Carmella and Corey review behind the paywall, you can.
This is by request on Fightful Select tomorrow night. You will get Linda and Sheila reviewing the sex show with Corey and Carmella. And then, because that should take only a few minutes for us to tell you how terrible the show is. After that, there will be extended fantasy booking of ROH stuff between me and Kate, which probably Linda and Sheila will be doing that too. So come and hang out with us tomorrow night for a bonus show, because there's no actual Sour Graps show for SmackDown on Select this weekend. I got to give you guys something.
And
so we figured we'd give you that.
Let me tell you, if it was not by request, we would not be doing it. But going back to the trios that you were booking, Chris Rain said, give me that trios match over the trios match that's on the pay-per-view. I'm intrigued to see what the trios match that's booked does, because I think we are going to get some shenanigans as far as like a heel turn goes, but give me all of it. I'll take it. Hey, what's that over there saying? I truly believe that House of Black would Old Yeller the Ministry of Darkness. Well played, and I don't disagree. I think you're dead on with that. Brent Lockman saying, as a metalhead, seeing Redbeard is always awesome. Hell yeah. He's in a freaking Amon Amarth video. That's true. Amon Amarth, great live, by the way. They should just get that song. Tony Khan doesn't really like getting licensed music, so I don't see that happening.
Nope.
That was sarcastic for all you people. The Nerd Guru was saying, for a split second, I thought Wyndham. I don't think I computed it fast enough to view that as a possibility in my head. I just don't see that happening, but I also didn't see Tony Khan just buying ROH, both the library and the promotion happening. So what the hell do I know?
Who knows?
Real quick, circling back to one final SmackDown super chat. I just Googled Charlotte tapped out, and literally the first title is every tap out from Charlotte Flair. WTF is this company? Do they think their audience is stupid? Yes. Do they think we're... Never mind. I already know the answer. Yeah, that was from Lord Jackson. JW Pringle chiming in saying, Paul Elizabeth and Mrs. Elizabeth. She's Kathy Elizabeth. She's a Catherine. I'm not. I'm actually just playing Kate, but just some fun Hensler family history for you. Happy Friday, you crazy kids. Both undefeated, both Canadian Destroyer masters. It's true. My mom hits a hell of a Canadian Destroyer. And the Nerd Guru saying, well, Rampage kicked all the ass as per usual. SmackDown had a fluke interference win, short women's matches, and has done virtually nothing to interest me in their top feuds, one of which is based on a lie. There's not a lot to disagree with there, except I am excited about Ricochet. That made me very happy.
Yeah.
Luis saying that he thought it was going to be Demonic Flamita. I didn't even think about that. That would have been a great ROH pull. Yeah. But now we go into the too smart for his own good, limitless Keith Lee versus JD Drake, also known as Big Meaty Men chopping all the meat. Oh my God, I love this match so much. I love JD Drake. And I love Keith Lee, but JD Drake, I don't think it's his due as a worker. I also just love the Wingmen. I find them hilarious. Peter Avalon stole my heart a long time ago. But this match was all sorts of fun. Alex, what did you think of this?
Oh, it's fun. I mean, it was longer than I thought it was going to be. Went through the commercial break. But it's really cool to have when you've set up that you have these three behemoths in this ladder match. I love that they're giving at least two of these guys, in Wardlow and Keith Lee, warm-up matches against fellow giant dudes. Like, oh, let's see what they can do against very large men. And I thought this was good. That finish of putting him basically just like squatting JD Drake in the fall away slam position, and then putting him, muscling him up onto the shoulders for the Big Bang Catastrophe he is a monster. They took all the wingmen came down. He got rid of all those guys super easy. The pounce was great. Keith Lee's is super special. The thing about Keith Lee is that Keith Lee is Keith Lee. And there's nobody else like him in the whole world, never has been in the ring. And the idea that somebody who is supposedly the greatest wrestling mind in the history of the business would say, no, I don't want you to be this unique, amazing thing. I want you to fit some other mold. I want you to just yell and never actually connect with the audience or speak words. I want you to be this raving animal. And you don't get to do any of your signature moves. I think that's kind of absurd. But for other news, listen to Keith Lee's interview on Talk Is Jericho from today, because oh boy, I'm so glad that this guy doesn't have to be there anymore, because they're letting him be special, which is what he is. And he is featured prominently on all of the posters for the next 4 months of live events. Even if he doesn't win this ladder match, they're strapping a rocket to this guy going forward. I would not be surprised to see him get maybe the All Out or the Full Gear AEW title match. Like they know what they've got. He's really special. I love it.
And with them buying ROH, I would be remiss if I did not mention that he and Shane Taylor were the tag team of the Pretty Boys. I don't think they're going to go there this early, but even if they faced each other, my goodness, like how fantastic. And you're right, like in WWE, they took a lot of what made him special away from the character, but they wouldn't even let him yeet people across the ring out after he did it to Adam Cole, and he just yeeted him like 6 rows back into the crowd, which was so much fun. But we have some super chats about this. 24 minutes in and TK isn't messing around. This card and event are going to be crazy. Yeah, I mean, they even said it on commentary. I think Excalibur said, this is like just the fastest hour of wrestling. Like it goes by so quick, and you just look up and you're like, oh, it's main event time or whatever. But this one, it was like the pedal was to the metal the whole time. 24 minutes in, you were like, man, there is a lot of juice in this episode and the pay-per-view that's coming up. Mark Losper saying, you know who's great? Keith freaking Lee. That's a little close to Seth freaking Rollins for me, but I understand what you're saying. I'm so glad that WWE sucks because I get to see this dude be great. Keith Lee rules. He does rule, and he did a lot of really great work in WWE. It was just after his COVID diagnosis and them trying to switch to the Bearcat thing on top of the bad booking with Karrion Kross, it just never refound its footing. And I'm glad he gets to go somewhere where he gets to be himself, whether that was going to be AEW, Impact, wherever. He deserves it, because he is like you said, I feel this way about Jade, not as much in the ring, but like there's just no one else in the world like that person. That's something special. Brendan Towngate saying, I love to see JD Drake getting more TV time. I really like that guy. Hopefully the ROH purchase can grant more time for the undercard guys. I love JD Drake. And when he was first put in the Wingmen, I was a little confused, because he always read to me as like an NWA throwback, more serious kind of wrestler. But he's been so much fun in the Wingmen. They're an underrated stable. They're there to do exactly what they're doing. And this was really fun, because I felt like Keith Lee at the end just got to make them all look like child's play, which is fun. Yeah. Peter Avalon's facial expression should not be forgotten in this conversation, because they're hysterical. But JD Drake is a fantastic wrestler. Seek out some of his indie matches too. He had a match with Daniel Garcia at Limitless Wrestling. That is one of the best independent matches ever. So he can do a lot. And it was also fun to see JD Drake in the ring with a bigger opponent. That was just like a fun, different thing that we got to see. Their guru is saying, wow, that Keith Lee guy doesn't look like dead weight to me now, does it? Vince's interview didn't change my opinion of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I probably will. But I can't comment on it because I didn't see it. Brendan Towngate also saying, anytime they hype up Lee and Hobbs, I get so excited. Orange Cassidy and Starks too, very excited for the ladder match. That's going to be a different type of ladder match than we've ever seen in AEW and kind of ever, I think. I think that's going to be very, very fun. And Lockman chiming in saying, seeing Lee makes me remember the matches he had in 2017 with Ishii, Walter, and Suzuki. And some of those being possible again brings me pure joy. It should. There's something so interesting with Keith Lee where he's just so wildly likable and so intimidating at the same time. That's such a magical recipe Where to me, he's like the clearest cut face in the world. Like you want to root for him. You can't help yourself but to want to root for him. But then he's like throwing Isaiah Kennedy 6 miles down the road. You know, it's a very fun combination of ingredients that make up Keith Lee in my opinion. Moving along. Alex, I don't know if you know this about me. I'm actually a fan of the old CM Punk. Did you know that?
I did.
I don't talk about it a lot, except
no, you don't. No.
Other than always, all the time.
Yep.
Even as I try and set aside my markdom, I felt like what he did with Eddie Kingston expanded the parameters of what we thought wrestling matches were on the pay-per-view because they beat the hell out of each other. And now this MJF feud, the way that they've engineered it has felt like something very different than we normally see in wrestling. This promo was hanging right there with that. We got a nice callback to his Punk with and Raven feud, which was the last dog collar match that Punk did. Brent Lockman saying, we'll mark out for days if Punk dusts off Miseria Cantari, even if it's just for one night. Fully channel old Punk. We also had people saying that he should bring out the gym shorts again. I even loved him closing this promo by saying, I'm better than you, because that calls back to straight edge means I'm better than you, CM Punk. And it obviously also calls out I'm better than you, and you know it from MJF. Yep. He has slowly really, really shaken off the rust of the like WWE promo style. I feel like ever since the Eddie Kingston one. And just, we're getting closer to that heel turn that's going to both make me so excited and break my heart at the same time. Because it's nice seeing CM Punk liking pro wrestling again. This promo was fantastic. And about 2 weeks ago, this whole feud just took on a completely different texture to me. How did you feel about this promo? And also just like what we've got going on with this? It feels like one of the most compelling stories in wrestling right now to me.
Yeah. It does. It really does. It started out. It started out pretty great, but then it got weird with like, the whole like you want to get in Britt's pants segment of the feud, which was a weird. Like it was like, oh, is this where we're going with this? I don't want to see this feud if that's what this is, and that feels like so far in the rearview mirror. And I wonder if like the feud had to go down that terrible tangent so that we could right the ship back into this amazing thing that we're in right now. If it was this feud would have burned up on re-entry or whatever. If we had started so white hot with it, you wouldn't have been able to get this far. It started right after Full Gear. And I was like, there's no way when this thing started, I was like, there's no way you could make this last all the way to Revolution. That's just impossible. And they somehow did it. And it feels perfect. It feels like Sunday is the perfect conclusion of this. All of the chapters have been written except for the final one. And I cannot wait for this match. It's going to kick so much ass. The storytelling, because MJF is a student of the game of the highest order. And he's in there with a guy who knows all of the tricks and will impart the right ones and figure there's going to be new things and old things being called back to, callbacks that are going to be turned on their head. Like there's going to be so many things about this match it's really, really special. And we are going to look back, I think, in 15 years when we're at the tail end of MJF's prime and going into maybe the end of his career. You look back at this feud and go like, I can't believe how young he was when he like shocked the world with this particular thing. And with Punk coming back after 7 years, like it's so crazy that he came back when he did, and he's here now doing this kind of work. That's amazing.
Yeah, I have so much love for this. I love that MJF explained why his actions were what they were, but you don't they don't excuse them in any way. It felt very much like an origin story, and I really love it. We've got some super chats saying, manifest Punk coming out to this fire burns. I love it. This should main event more than any title match. I'm a big believer in the title should close the show, but this does feel like their hottest feud.
I think the reason that you're doing Adam versus Adam is because Kenny's coming back during the match. I think the angle coming out of Adam versus Adam is, holy shit, Kenny's back and he hates Adam Cole. Yeah. Like I think that the Adam Cole versus Kenny thing, that's going to take us all the way through to Double or Nothing. It's going to start a new cycle of amazing stories to tell, and I feel like that's why they're probably going to end with that.
Wrestling's so fun and cool when it's done right. Brent Lockman saying, wonder if we see Raven Sunday. I thought about that too. Oh my God, you guys are so much fun. I don't want Punk and MJF to ever end. Just a masterpiece every show. Yeah, Punk has to bring back the basketball shorts. Eloquent chiming in and saying, Fran Chile saying, guys, I think we broke CM Punk. Yeah, this just felt.
Yeah.
When Punk gets like quieter, it gets like scary and good. And I think that I think the Punk heel turn is going to happen in a moment, but I think this is the evolution leading to that moment. Mike Preventure saying, am I the good guy? I'm trying to be. I don't think he's trying anymore. And this is what unleashes heel Punk to take the title from Hangman at Double or Nothing. The brilliant Joel Holbert, who does the late night grin and used to do some incredible work at Fightful, had a fantasy booking of face Punk, face Hangman, Punk low blows Hangman, wins the title, and Eddie Kingston comes out and says, I told you this is the son of the bitch this guy was, and that gets reignited. I would cry with excitement. We got a super chat from Mark Quill saying, Kate and CM Punk versus MJF in the Bears main event. Yeah, if it's gonna be me and Punk versus MJF in the Bears, like that should main event the show. I'm sorry, Kenny Omega, but I'm bringing live Bears in. So what are you gonna do? We move in to Jade Cargill and Mark Sterling interview. Nerd Guru chiming in and saying,
Mark Sterling's a terrible lawyer.
Worst lawyer in the world. Worst lawyer ever. This was perfectly fine. He's a riot. He really is.
Funny.
Nerd Guru saying, I like Tay, but I love Jade. Jade should squash her. I think Jade does squash her, and she says, I'm 30-0 or whatever. And then out comes Athena, Tegan Knox, whoever.
Maybe. But I think Tay gives her her best match as champ. Because I think that right now is AQA. So I think that, like, you know, this should be. I think Tay's been giving she's got a spot on the card in the division that has required her to have a good match. I think. But I love Mark Sterling going, that's why I put a little clause in the contract that Conti's not allowed to touch her until 48 hours before the match, which of course is right now, and that's bad. I'm bad at my job. And Tay comes out of nowhere with a flying kick. I was like, why didn't you make it until 8 hours before the match? Why 48 hours? That doesn't make any sense. And then you announce it on television so everybody can hear? That's ridiculous.
That's hysterical. What a terrible lawyer.
What a terrible lawyer he is.
Circling back on Keith Lee and JD Drake, Chris Reigns had said, I would love to see the Workhorsemen, Drake and Anthony Henry in AEW ROH. Yeah, Anthony Henry is a hard-hitting son of a bitch. So he would be very fun. That CM Punk promo too. We have one more super chat coming in saying, I said on Overbooked that Punk turns during this match and goes after Hangman. That promo may be a little more sure. It does seem like we're getting layered Punk for a reason, which makes me very, very happy. But we'll move along to Serena Deeb and
Anna Jay did give her best match. For some reason, I thought that was before she became champion. In my head, it was.
That's right.
Was all screwed up. But yeah, no, she was champion when that was a good match.
That was very good. Serena Deeb versus Layla Gray, who we've seen on Dark a few times. And Red Suit Cheetah is back. We got Red Jackson sending in a Humper chat saying, been saying it for months, but I hope the final Deeb and Cheetah match is treated and built as a big deal by AEW. They deserve it. Maybe a pipe dream, but please give them 30 to 45 minutes on Dynamite for an Iron Woman or 2 out of 3 falls match I wanted. I'm really waiting for them to use Rampage for 1 hour Broadway. That would be very, very fun if they are up for it. But yeah, and we have Mark Lasper saying that Sheeta tweeted, "I'm back to kick ass." Well, she beat the ever-living hell out of her. So let's quickly go through this. Serena Deeb versus Layla Gray. No surprise here. Nothing really to talk about in this match, but what Sheeta did after. I don't love this for this spot. Like, I don't love that this is where the Sheeta thing gets reignited. I feel like it contradicts everything that they built out. But what did you think of what happened here?
I love that Sheeta's back, but
Yes.
this is not where I would have done it.
Agreed.
But I mean, and I agree. I think 2 out of 3 falls is good. I think Iron Woman might be better. Half-hour Iron Woman match, and you build it out and be like, okay, top of hour 2, a half-hour Iron Woman match. Like everybody knows when to tune in. This is when we're gonna do it. Like you could do it that way. You can make it the main event for all I care. But the half-hour thing, Iron Woman would be really great to do this for them. She laid in some stiff kendo shots
to the face, to Serena Deeb's face. She's gonna come out looking like this.
Yeah, she very well might. I like that there's going to be the blow off, and then each of them can go their separate ways, because I think we've seen it enough at this point. But like, this is what's so great about the potential of having the 2 separate women's divisions that can then intertwine at certain places. You can separate people after they feud for way too long. You can say what you could afterwards happen. All of a sudden, Serena Deeb would show up on ROH and start a program over there, and Hikaru Shida would be on AEW. And then once they wind up back at the same place, you could reignite it for old time's sake for one night only. You know, that could be fun too.
Alex, you and I are going over 2 hours, and sorry, Sean, but we've gotten a lot of support, and you guys have been so nice about sending in things about my face, so I appreciate it. We're gonna turn up the heat here. We got a couple more chats about Serena Deeb and the Sheeta angle, saying Brendan Towngate, sooner than expected, but I'm just really happy to see Sheeta back smacking people with kendo sticks. Please let Sheeta run a stable. Been preaching that for a long time, buddy. We need a stable. And James Barra saying that, is there a chance of Athena coming to AEW? SRS seems to indicate this isn't as much of a slam dunk as when she left WWE. Thoughts? I feel like they are stupid if they don't do it, but the Impact Knockouts division is really damn good. So I think it might just depend on what Athena wants to do and where she wants to go. Them buying ROH, like, I don't know if that factors into it, but I feel like having more places to go is something that's so great. So I don't know. I think they would be silly to pass on her. I thought it was silly with Mercedes Martinez, and they finally then were like, you know what, Kate's right. Let's go out and get Mercedes Martinez. So, but I would rather Athena than like a Paige Van Zant or something like that.
Right. No, Athena, I think will be there before too long. I think Athena is kind of like, I've been basically on the shelf forever in the other place. I like going out and wrestling new faces and being able to, like, I don't know, show up and wrestle Thunder Rosa in a draw that lasts a half hour where we kill each other. Maybe she'd like to do that with other people, or maybe do some intergender stuff. There's a lot of intergender stuff being going on right now that's really intriguing. Maybe she wants to do some of that before she signs in with AEW.
Agreed. Alex, we get to talk about this Eddie Kingston interview, and it makes me so happy. Mm-hmm. I'm on the TikTok now, okay? I'm like the kids. And I put up a video that was just 3 things Eddie promos that were in Eddie's promos that I was like, these should be viral sounds on TikTok. That video has 30,000 views. And one of the things that I put in there was him going, I want this cake, when he was in catering. Let's talk about peanut butter pie and Eddie Kingston. Chris Reigns unprotected just to say, I love Eddie Kingston in caps. I hear you, buddy. He's like my favorite promo in the game right now alongside Punk. Eddie's just the best, man.
Yep. Yeah, he really is. I mean, him and Jericho should be a lot of fun. I feel like they're probably gonna prolong this thing, and Jericho's going to win the first match by cheating, and then we'll get another one down the line. And I'm trying to prepare myself for Eddie losing to Chris Jericho on Sunday, but I love this promo. I'm like, hey, Tony, there's a peanut butter pie. There's a peanut butter pie over there in catering with our name on it. What do you say? And I love that. I love that he and Tony are going to go eat peanut butter pie together.
That sounds like a blast. I would sign up for that any day of the week. So short and sweet. And then we close out with All Ego Ethan Page versus Christian Cage. Kyle O'Reilly's air guitar is back. Makes me very excited. Chris Rain saying that I missed the KOR air guitar. We all did, I think. Yeah. I thought this was great. And Ethan Page is such a great promo. I loved what he said going into this match. It was just a reminder of why I don't need Dan Lambert representing him in any way, shape, or form. But him pointing out that he and Christian Cage debuted the same night, and they boasting this Hall of Fame caliber talent in reference to Christian. He said, no. I'm the Hall of Fame caliber talent. I loved that. I thought that was gangbusters. He's a great talker, and this was just a really fun way to close out Rampage. What did you think?
Yeah, I love Ethan Page. He's one of those guys. I'm like, this is a dude who, depending on how you're doing ROH, should be the ROH champion for like 6 months. Like if you're not going to do anything really substantial with him on AEW, I get it. It's a very crowded situation, but he's money. He's such a good talker. He's really, really good in the ring. He's got the right size. He's got the right look. Like everything. He's great. Like he's a guy you could build a whole damn company around. Like I really like it. And I knew going into this match he wasn't going to win it. And it was like, okay. But he's also very young. And he's gonna get his time in the sun. I hope it's one of those things where he's like not forgotten about, especially if they've got 2 shows to run. Like this is a dude you got to put some effort behind because he will reward you. He's really, really good.
And let's not forget that Josh Alexander is also a free agent, and they had an incredible tag team in the North. So a lot of fun stuff there. Also loved Christian saying before this match that he's like kind of invented the ladder match basically, which I just loved him calling that back because I thought that was a really important part of his story for real.
In a practical way, that's why you have him in the ladder match.
Yes.
He's probably going to be laying out all the best spots of the match, whether they're for him or somebody else. There's a reason why you have a guy in there to call a ladder match with 6 guys in it. By the way, they said this is the 6th and final entrant. No surprise, no Swerve's going to come out and be number 7 unless they break their own rules. Like this is the 6 we got. So of these 6, one of them is going to win this thing, as opposed to this. I saw people going, "What if it's Swerve? What if it's Claudio? Like what? It's none of them. They'll. I believe both of them will debut in AEW very soon, but it's not going to be in this match.
Let's not forget how much they love to surprise us the week after pay-per-view on Dynamite too. That's where Miro showed up. So a lot of fun things happening here. Ethan Page got his American citizenship, so congratulations to him. I don't know why I wanted to give up that free healthcare, but whatever. I'm happy for him if he's happy. But good to see Ethan Page celebrating leaving Canada by fighting a fellow Canadian. Is an A+ super chat from Brent Lockman there. Couple more super chats to round this out. You guys have been so supportive to us all night. We really appreciate it. We had a super chat that came in from, hey, what's that over there? Saying another AEW trio that I would like to see would be Mox, Eddie, and Homicide, or for Mox, Eddie, and Callahan. Right now, I'm thinking you reform Proud and Powerful with Eddie if you're going trios. You reform that LAX combination from before, but I don't hate any of that. I think Mox and Danielson are going to be starting a stable of their own, though. We have Dan Janoff saying, hearing Amon Amarth getting mentioned on here after seeing Edge wear their shirt on Raw made my metal heart happy. Buddy, my entire adolescence was metal music. I worked at a metal radio station all through college. It warms my heart too. Amon Amarth is amazing in concert. If you haven't seen them, do so. Mark Quill saying to our scarred badass Kate, Alex, and everyone else on our chat tonight, enjoy Revolution weekend. I bid you adieu. Goodbye. and good night. We thank Marquel for all of his generosity and being so darn nice on Twitter. He's the best. Alex, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
Other than for Sean to fire us.
Yeah.
It's jukebox time, baby.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So this effectively like ends the show, but if you're not here on Tuesday nights, what happens is because NXT isn't great, we end up doing a wheel of impressions. And by we, I mean I have one impression and Alex does the rest. And that has now spilled over into tonight because you guys are so generous. He asked if we can get Wilford Brimley doing the pipe bomb. And because
That's
you're
a long
chump,
one. That's a long one.
You're a chump and don't have it memorized. Louise put the
I have it here. It's a long one. I'm gonna do part of it, and maybe I'll do the rest of it on Tuesday because it's so.
No, I would skip to the brass rings part because I think that's the funniest Brimley part, and it's so sad that I haven't that memorized off the top of my head.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna do that one as the second paragraph. Here we go. I've been the best ever since day one when I walked into this company, and I've been vilified and hated since that day because Paul Heyman saw something in me nobody else wanted to admit. That's right, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. You know who else was a Paul Heyman guy? Brock Lesnar. And he's split just like I'm splitting, but the biggest difference between me and Brock is I'm going to leave with a WWE Championship. I've grabbed so many of Vince McMahon's brass rings that it's finally dawned on me that just that they're completely imaginary. The only thing that's real is me and the fact that day in and day out for almost 6 years, I have proved everybody in the world that I'm the best on this microphone, in that ring, even on commentary. Nobody can touch me. Well, maybe diabetes. Diabetes can touch me, but that's about it.
Amazingly well done. And no, I did not have it pulled up. I knew that off the top of my head, and that is so sad. Dennis's, or is it Denise's dirty work? I'm not totally sure. Probably Denise's in this Humper chat saying, no, it's more of a Tuesday thing. But can we have Tony D put out a warning to the person who had the audacity to interport? Spoiler alert, it was my 30-pound dog. But Tony D having my back would have been helpful. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know who you mess with my Kate, and you are taking a trip down to the docks. I'm gonna fit you with a new pair of cement shoes, and you're gonna take a dip in the East River. That's right, you're gonna sleep with the fishes. Anybody who hurts my Kate gets you're taking a dirt nap. That's why I'm gonna send you down to sleep with the fishes. I'm gonna dredge you back up out of the river, and then I'm gonna bury you so you can take a dirt nap. Nobody messes with my Kate, not even you, Buster. Like, I understand it was an accident. Next time you get one. You get one mistake. I know you're sorry. You'll do this again. Me and you are gonna have words, pal. All right?
Thanks, Tony. I appreciate you. I can't do a Joker impression, but someone saying, can we get Kate saying in the Joker voice, you want to know how I got these scars? You can't, because I can't even do a Joker impression. But I appreciate the super chat. I'll just tell you how I got these scars. Dog bit my lip open last Friday. I had to go to the emergency room and I got stitches. And then they came out. I am not a snitch. And so not only snitches get stitches, but also non-snitches get stitches. So I just wanted to make that incredibly clear.
It's not a perfect 1-to-1 ratio.
It's not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Mark Losper saying, I'm getting this in for either Tuesday or the next select show. Linda and Sheila doing Rock's verse from. We'll save that for another day.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So we're 2 hours and 10 minutes into this.
Yeah.
Instead of going match by match through the Revolution card, do you want to just throw out any surprise returns or debuts that you think are going to happen, or significant storyline items or wins or losses that we might see?
I mean, I think that what this is the end of a lot of stories and the beginning of a bunch of other ones, which is what's really interesting to me. Is I think that the kind of thing that we're going to get is MJF is going to be involved with Wardlow. I think Wardlow wins the ladder match. I think Wardlow doesn't help MJF in the Punk match when he's supposed to. And because of that, MJF rescinds his offer of not stealing the title from him. It was just a verbal thing, was never put in the contract. So I'm taking that from you, big man, because you were bad and you misbehaved. And then we're going to get him firing Wardlow, but then being rehired by Tony Khan. And he's going to duck Wardlow until Double or Nothing when we get MJF versus Wardlow. That's going to keep MJF busy. Adam Cole is going to be busy with Kenny Omega. Kenny and the Bucks versus Adam Cole and Red Dragon is going to be a thing. Keith Lee's going to be taken up with Team Taz. Like, it's going to come down to the only person who's left to chat. I think Jericho and Kingston's going to continue. The only person who's going to be left to face Adam Hangman Page Double or Nothing is CM Punk. And we're going to get a really cool respect feud. Like, hey, you know what? I love what I've seen you do. Danielson and Moxley is going to be doing something as well. Sure. That's the only person who's left is going to be Punk. And he'll be like, what? Who? Me? I guess, I suppose. And he'll be this thing. Well, he's going to go into the match thinking he respects Hangman, and he's going to turn on him in the most public way in the biggest show they do. And it's going to break all of our hearts because we're going to love Hangman by that point. Mostly because Punk is going to tell us how great Hangman is and what a great champion is. He's the future of the business. What an honor it is for me to have this match. And then he's going to turn on Hangman to become the heel Punk champion, taking us through the whole summer into the fall when they do his first big pay-per-view defense is going to be at All Out in Chicago. And then who knows what you do there, but the spring is going to be all about, I think, setting up Punk. Who? Me? I suppose I'll take this title shot. I mean, I don't deserve it, but all right. And then he's gonna completely show himself to be the awful heel Punk that we know.
Oh God, he's so good at that.
Yep.
For the unfortunate puppy mouth hugs, hope you feel better. Thank you so much, Brent Lockman. A very hard part of this week was how guilty my dog was obviously feeling. It's actually kind of wild how in tune he was. I love that booking. I'm a Punk mark, so of course I do, but I think that's great. A lot of people were saying straight edge kid versus drunk cowboy. I don't even know if you have to go there. I don't mind if you do. But man, just endless possibilities in this company that I think are so fun. I don't know if we get a huge debut. I think if we get a debut, it might be more on the women's side. Mm-hmm. Maybe Swerve. Swerve, I feel like could get in this TNT mess really early if he wanted to. Yeah. I think you saved Claudio for another time, but I do think he's on his way. So interesting right now. And with ROH now being under their umbrella, just so many, you could see CM Punk go back to ROH. How freaking cool is that?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And Danielson and the Bucks. And of course, so many possibilities, but a lot of fun. And pro wrestling is a fun thing. So, Alex.
Yep.
Tomorrow we're doing the silliest thing in the world, and then Sunday we're doing the most fun thing in the world.
Yes, both things.
So, subscribe to Fightful Select to get those scoops that are coming out of the weekend. Thank you so much to the sponsors of the show, of course, Bluetooth and NordVPN. Tomorrow, again, we're reviewing Corey and Carmella for some god-awful reason. The god-awful reason being that you wonderful, awesome, amazing people have asked us to do it. So we're going to do it, and we'll probably talk some ROH and maybe some AEW if our heart's fancy, and we'll be doing it as Linda and Sheila. If you're familiar with the Tuesday night show, if you're not, they're just two old biddies talking wrestling and rumors. And then Sunday we'll see you on the post show. So Alex, where can they find you?
You can find me on the Twitter at Alex Sour Graps. Also, I do stuff on Fightful Select where I review Raw and SmackDown. And then on Tuesdays, it's me and Kate reviewing NXT 2.0, or as I've decided to call it, 2.0 Divas. It's more a reality show than it is a wrestling show at this point. And yeah, tomorrow night should be a lot of fun because I have a Linda costume now that I'll be wearing.
Oh my goodness, so much fun. You can find me when I'm not getting mauled by my dog at Miss Kate Fave on Twitter. You can catch me Tuesdays with the guy next to me, as you just said. Always here Friday with Sean Ross Sapp or Alex when Sean is out. Wednesdays at the Mark Order podcast and some other fun projects that I have coming up that I'm not going to reveal to you until they're ready because I don't like announcements about announcements. I think they're rude. So follow me on Twitter for all of those. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow behind the paywall and we'll see you Sunday at the Revolution Post Show. Have a good night. Be well.